Have you guys ever had a friendship that literally ended for no reason? Growing up, I had this one best friend, let's call her Jenna. Me and Jenna were genuinely inseparable. Like, we did everything together, sleepovers all the time. We always gossiped, always talked about boys that we liked, like all that stuff. Everything was perfect and peachy until I found out that Jenna was moving to a different school and she didn't even tell me. Anyway, she like stopped basically reaching out to me, and that was really strange because there was not a minute or day that went by that like we didn't talk. A couple days later, I had found out that Jenna was moving. I found this out because a little birdie told me, and by a little birdie, I mean that's somebody she was friends with. And that's crazy because me and her were like so close. You would think that I found out first. So obviously I reached out to her and I was like, hey girl, did you want to like tell me you were moving? No response from Jenna. I thought, okay, maybe she's just like super emotional because she has to leave me. It's not easy leaving this. So the next day at school, I went up to her to question her why she ignored my message and why she didn't tell me that she was moving. This girl, I'm not even kidding, just acts like I'm not there. I was talking to her and she was just like, oh. I was texting her the rest of the day because we had to go to class. Barely any answer. And then I texted her again, like no answer. And I was just like, all right, like I'm done reaching out to you, girl. I literally never heard from her again. She never reached out. I never reached out again. This is honestly one of my biggest life mysteries and it always will be. Has this ever happened to you guys? Love you. Bye.
Story time about how I made this online friend and ended up going to his house and finding out he is disgusting and saw something that I never wanted to see in my life. Disclaimer, do not make online friends, especially people off of Discord. Y'all are gonna cancel me, I know. Guys, I was 15. Stop. So I live in Cali, right? I live in the Bay Area, and he lived in Fresno. And I didn't ever expect us to meet up because y'all know Fresno is a little far. Well, for me, it's far, right? So we ended up talking for like months and months. At this point, we had been talking for maybe like almost a year, right? So we're really close. And why is her phone so loud? So we ended up talking, and I wanted to ask to go to his house. My dad knew about him, right? My dad knew that he was like a boy, right? We're gonna call him Jarkeisha, right? So if I was to ask my dad, hey, can you drive me to Jarkeisha's house hours away in Fresno? He's gonna say no. I know he is, because my dad don't play that. So I asked my grandpa, because my grandpa loves me. He's gonna do anything to make me happy. I said, Grandpa, I have this friend that's a girl, and I really want to go to her house. Can you please drop me off at her house and I spend the night, please, for like 2 days, please? He's like, yeah, sure. He wanted to go out to Fresno anyway because there's this Chinese spot that he really wanted to go to because they posted on TikTok and it's just really mean. Y'all are going to know probably who I'm talking about. I don't know. So he really wanted to go, right? So we end up driving to Fresno, and I get to Jarkeisha's house, and me and him were like talking for a little bit. We immediately start playing Fortnite. So we're in his room playing Fortnite for about like 3 hours, right? So at one point he just gets up and he leaves. He's like, I'll be right back, and leaves, right? I'm sitting there, I'm like, are you going to tell me, like, where you're going, or are you going to act like a Wattpad story and just, like, leave? I gotta go, and just leave. No explanation? Like, come on now. So, he leaves, and I'm not tracking time at this point. I'm, like, another match starts, and I'm like, alright. Like, I'm focused on the game. But after, like, 15 minutes, right, I'm dead at this point, because I suck at Fortnite. I suck at, like, games, period. So, I'm like, it's probably been, like, 15 minutes. Where's this guy at? And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just keep playing, and he'll come back whenever he comes back, right? So 30 minutes goes by, and I'm like, where is this guy at? Where is this guy at? So I hop up off of his bed, right? His room was like, I remember like the smell of when I first went into that room. It was like, you know how old houses smell? It smells like old house. He lived in a nice house, but his room was just disgusting. So it smelled like old house and like fecal matter. That should have been the second red flag. So I get concerned at this point, and I walk out, like, I'm looking around the house to, like, see where he's at, right? So I run into his parents. His parents are in the kitchen cooking dinner, right? So I'm like, hey, Miss Jarkeisha, like, do you know where Jarkeisha's at? And she's like, oh, no, I actually don't know where he's at. You should just go back in the room and start, keep playing. So I thought that was weird that she was, like, trying to keep me in the room, right? Like, I'm not sure, like, if she just didn't want me to see, like, if she just didn't want me walking around her house. I don't know what it was. So I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, that's red flag number 3. I'm going to give it one more chance before I call my grandpa. We got to go home, right? I don't know where my grandpa was at. Like, he's in Fresno, but I don't know if he's still at the Chinese spot. I don't know where he's at, right? So I go back into the room, and I sit back on his bed, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to let up. I'm gonna find this guy, right? So I end up walking out. Before I end up walking out of his room, I'm looking around his room, right? Because I'm nosy. I don't see any cameras in his room. So, like, if I'm looking around, he's not going to know. He's not in the room. His parents are cooking dinner that I'm not going to eat. I'm really a picky eater. So I look around his room. So I'm moving stuff around. So the setup, we'll say this is the setup, right? This is his TV. This is the console. This is where the controllers are. I'm like Mind you guys, the smell is like getting worse by the second. I'm searching for the smell. What is that smell? Because the smell is only coming from this room. So I'm searching around. I lift up the console. I'm sitting here like at his desk. Like his bed is like in front of his desk. So I'm looking everywhere. Where is this smell at? So I end up going to the back of his bed. His bed, guys, literally the way I describe his layout will give you a brain aneurysm. So I go to look like behind his bed. I pull back the thing just a little bit and I see like all these specks like behind it, and I'm like, are those bugs? Because I don't play that. That's disgusting. No, they were boogers. And honestly, it's disgusting, but I won't judge because I know that's like a regular thing. People do that, right? So I'm like, it's your room, whatever. Gonna spoil, I couldn't find where the smell was coming from, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm done being nosy. I'm gonna go find where this kid is at.
So I don't know why it didn't occur to me in the beginning, but I'm like, maybe he's in the bathroom, right? So I go to the bathroom and I see that the light is on, and so I'm like, Jarkeisha. So I'm like, okay, he's pooping. I just want to check up on him. I'm like, Jarkeisha. Nothing. So I'm like, Jarkeisha. No response. Like the shadow just stops moving entirely.
So I get worried at this point, and I thought like, okay, he's face down, passed out, sort of like in the toilet, trying to like get up out of the toilet. Like, what if he's having a seizure right now, right? I have seizures. Don't try to cancel me for that dumb crap. So anyways, it's a realistic thought. So I go and I put my hand on the handle of the doorknob of the bathroom door, and I go to open it. It was not locked, right? Why do I open this door? Why do I see this guy like on top of his, like, not his desk, but on top of the sink? I'm trying to think of the word. He's on top of the sink, bent over like this. Hold on. Just bent over. Mind you, there is poop. I know I talk about poop a lot on this channel. I don't know why I have bad luck with poop. There is poop all over the glass. There's poop on the rim of the toilet. It smells disgusting in that bathroom. So I open the door and I see him bent over for whatever reason. And you guys are going to say, guys, personal boundaries. Why don't you just learn boundaries? You could have minded your business. I'm honestly thinking realistically that this kid is having a seizure, because he was one of those kids that was like bug and like all that and just had like OCD, BPD, ADD, like all these types of things, right? So that's a realistic thought for me. And I used to be one of those dumb uglies that believed it. Okay, so guys, calm down. I just closed the door. He's like frantic at this point, like, right? I just closed the door. And I'm thinking in my head, you know what? I'm going home, right? I call my grandpa to come pick me up. I don't want to spend the night here anymore. I tell his parents I don't want to be here because I just caught your son being weird in the freaking bathroom. I left so quick. After I got picked up and I got home, I didn't even wait till I got home. I got into the motor vehicle and blocked this guy on Discord and on Instagram and TikTok. Never again. And they're blocked, so they probably won't see this. This happened when I was 15, so this was like 2 years ago. I want nothing to do with this person. Please, guys, do not make friends with people online. I have a lot of online friends, but I'm different than you guys. Don't be friends with people online. But that's it for my story time today. 0 out of 10.